Mr. Congressman. All right. So good evening, everyone. Bonsoir, Congressman. Bonsoir, Carrie. We are just waiting for 1 minute to give some people time to get in. I see the Congressman is trying to get in, but he has a problem with the connection. Okay. So I would say for the past 3 weeks, we have been discussing how the Haitian diaspora can support Haiti, right? We have been discussing this subject because we believe that if there is any chance for Haiti to survive, for Haiti to prosper, to thrive, the diaspora must be part of it. But what do we do? And how, right? So one thing is true, the diaspora is one of the last remaining blood life of Haiti. The billion that we send to our folks down there to pay for everything from basic necessities, such as food and rent, to school, to funerals. So the advocacies that we do to influence policy, to influence immigration policy in the US, to change Haiti's image, all that we think, all that we do not seem to be enough. Haiti, our motherland, is sliding fast toward the abyss. What do we do? How do we stop that, this painful decline of our country? So hier matin, on a sorti un communiqué côté yo condamné action communauté internationale là a fait depuis longtemps pour craser Haïti. Mais dans même communiqué ça, on a fait comprendre que Haïtien pas de capacité pour résoudre problème Haïti pour compte. Attendez bien, oui. Problème que yo même en majeure partie yo créé, que y a renforcé, y a crasé pays à chaque. Yo dit nous pas de capacité pour nous résoudre problème ça. Donc qui ça n'a fait? Qui le n'a fait ça? Comment n'a fait ça? C'est dans perspective ça que Etinofo Institute avec New Jersey for Haiti organisé une série de webinaires depuis semaine passée, depuis 2 semaines que nous commençons, pour nous discuter force nous dans la diaspora, qui stratégie n'a pas appliqué, et l'autre bagaille qui va permettre nous aider Haïti avec diaspora aux États-Unis, puis efficace. Dans ce sens, je vais présenter nous 2 mondes, qui a 2 modérateurs, Dr. Elaine Marcellus et Madame Suzanne Joseph, qui vont diriger chose à voir sur ça. Dr. Marcellus, take it away.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Good evening, everyone who are joining us tonight in this Zoom call, also Facebook Live and YouTube Live. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to have you tonight. Tonight we have 2 special guests with us. We have the next Congressman of New York, of the great state of New York, Brother Kerry Solage, and also we have the great Councilman Bert Lenius from Essange, New Jersey. a few things I want to say about these two gentlemen is that Brother Congressman Kerry is going to be the first elected congressman of the U.S., Haitian congressman. We have a Haitian congresswoman who's elected in Florida, but he will be the first man who's elected, Haitian male who's elected to Congress. So this is big for us. We are making strive. The diaspora is making strive. We're going to send him. He's going to fight for us. And we have a Councilman Bert Lanius here who's been who's with the fight and already fighting for us policy, whether if it's immigration issue, whether it's whether it's healthcare, whether if it's education, they are on the forefront fighting for us. But the fight continues, and they need, they need our support. So tonight they're going to talk to us about what can we do. This is a very important conversation, because as you can see, Haiti's at a crossroad. Right? Haiti right now is at a crossroad because whether it's the country is going to die or it's going to move forward. And as you can see, there is a brain drain in Haiti. Right? You have this simple politician who continue to hold the country hostage. They don't want to change, and you have the youth. There's no youth movement. Right? The youth, the first chance they get, they leave the country. So we, the diaspora, what are we going to do? How can we help impact changes? And what should we do? And how do we go about it? Yes, we are, like Dr. Prosper say, we are sending a lot of money, billions of dollars to the country. However, that's not enough. How do we change the policy, whether it's here in the US or to make sure that we are impact changes in Haiti? Let me pass the mic to my co-host. Tonight we have Miss Louise, Miss Susan, who's going to speak. Let me pass the mic to her, and then she'll introduce the rest of the panel.
Don't worry about missing the names.
Sorry.
Okay. I think we're gonna start. The first thing I'm gonna have is to remind everyone about the rules, and mostly because we already talked about what the purpose of this conversation today. And I will do it in Creole. As we already said, most of the conversation gonna be in Creole. Okay. On a essayé rappeler tout le monde qui est avec nous sur YouTube Live ou bien Facebook Live, que vous pouvez poser question, on a essayé rattraper question au maximum. Pour monde qui est avec nous qui sous lien Zoom, nous pouvons toujours poser question. Jean, yo dit boy ici aux États-Unis, first come first serve. Poser question avant, ce qui fait que nous sommes capables de rattraper question pour nous poser au monde qui participer. Et puis nous avons dit tout le monde bonne participation. Moi avec Dr. Marcellus, nous sommes là pour faire question au marché, mais principal monde qui va faire conversation ça, c'est deux guest speakers et puis ou même qui va pour poser question. Dans la première partie, au guest speaker nous pour parler, évidemment nous posons question et puis après ça laisse jouer là non mais nous-mêmes avec guest speaker. Marcellus, je pense qu'on va commencer avec question là.
So why don't we allow our guests to introduce themselves, to talk about where they are, the work they're doing, and then before we start with the first question. So I'll pass the over to Congressman Kerry. I saw him.
Bonsoir tout le monde, comment ça va?
Bonsoir.
Ça va bien?
Bonsoir, Congressman.
Nice to see you, everybody. My apologies. I currently am having a fundraiser as we speak, and I am multitasking. I apologize, but it is coming down to the wire. I'm running for Congress, the election, and people could start voting for me this Saturday, and it will be a historic election because you see, I would be the only and the first Haitian American male to represent us in the United States House of Representatives. And that is an important position because that position is responsible for not just domestic affairs, but also foreign affairs. And last time I checked, of course, I will be responsible to Long Island and do my job as I've done for 10 years as a legislator, and I do my job very well. But I will also be responsible for helping international issues. And specifically, I want to focus on Haiti. The Congressional Black Caucus and other entities have not done a good job in trying to focus on Haiti. There's been an embargo on the police since '94, where the police cannot even purchase weapons, firearms. As a result, I went to Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, and so I'm very familiar with international relations. As a result, the police are outgunned, outnumbered, outmatched by the gangs. We see this yesterday, last night on CNN, and we hear of these news stories that are very frightening. I represent a Haitian American district, Elmont, Valley Stream, Inwood, the western side of Nassau County. The district I'm running for Congress. The election is August 23rd, but early voting starts this Saturday. The district includes Uniondale, which is a Haitian community, Baldwin, Haitian community, Hampstead, many Haitian people there, Lakeview, Freeport, many Haitian people there, Oceanside, Long Beach, Merrick, Roosevelt, again, Elmont, Valley Stream, the 5 towns. This is Nassau County. It's a county right, east of New York City. I would appreciate your support. I will focus vigorously on Haiti. I want to make sure also there are satellites over Haiti to provide cell phone service. It's unfortunate that we don't have that. We don't see Uber. We don't see any services really, and a number of other issues, infrastructure, healthcare, a lack of rule of law. I'm an attorney. My campaign website is salagesforcongress.com. The campaign phone number is 516-248-4730. Once again, 516-248-4730. 716-248-4730. Mais vraiment besoin d'aide. N'a fait l'histoire ensemble, mais pas faire ça pour moi. Mais besoin d'aide. M'a venu dans New Jersey le 18, semaine prochaine, si je veux. N'a bien fundraising dans One Republic. Si vous pouvez venir, s'il vous plaît, m'a apprécié ça. Kounya me doit aller kounya back na fundraising là. Ou que me gain un pile moun cap supporter, un pile moun Pakistani, un pile moun na chaque communauté. Got it.
When I go back to my center and I speak to my staff and my directors and managers and all that good stuff.
So kounya wè sa gen un pile moun derrière moi, mais mes besoins, OK, mes besoins, so s'il vous plaît, aidez-moi. Mes besoins répondre aux questions que nous gagnons. Dan qui travaille pour moi, qui répond aux questions là, m'a retourné avec vous tout de suite. Merci. Just answer questions. Go over there. Okay.
Right. Donc, attention, congressman, non, vraiment busy. Je pense que c'est un honneur que les paraître là, les présenter là, ensemble avec nous. Nous avons souhaité que le public attende là, normalement, essayer de comment nous supporter le congressman. Donc, are you here to answer a question for the congressman?
Yes, I can answer some questions. I work on his campaign. My name is Dan Small.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Dan. Thank you. Okay. Councilman Lanius, can you introduce yourself and say a few things about your work that you've been doing in the U.S. or in the New Jersey community?
And I will say one last thing. Before we go back to you, Dan, with question, maybe we will let the Councilman Lanius present himself and talk about where he's at. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Wonderful.
I'm sorry, were you going to ask a question or
yes,
Dan?
just
or?
go ahead. You introduce yourself and tell us about your the work you're doing in the US, and then we'll ask questions after that.
So yes, good evening to the 1804 Institute, to you, Suzanne, and to you, Dr. Marcellus, my NJ for Haiti brother. I just want to say welcome to everyone who's watching this or listening to this, wherever you may be in the world. My name is Berkson Lanius. I'm a councilman representing the 3rd Ward of the city of East Orange, New Jersey. I've been a council person now for 5 years. It's something that's a passion of mine, helping people. We have a strong Haitian community here in the city of East Orange. I am the first ever Haitian elected official in the city of East Orange history. And, it's an honor and a pleasure. And it's something that I carry with me every day in every room that I enter. Everyone knows who I am, what I represent, and what I stand for. On a local level, it's important for me to my my primary focus is the youth, because I believe that is the way to help our people through the youth movement. You know, Mr. Prosper mentioned, you know, the diaspora, and he said, why is it not effective? You know, we have what, roughly 3.5 million people representing diaspora or more, you know, outside of, you know, obviously our beautiful home of Haiti. You know, we roughly send about $3 to $4 billion back home to help. And the reason why it's not effective is because we're not organized. You know, we have a issue with pride, with ego, and we need to organize ourselves in order to, you know, take those resources, because we're not, for lack of want of resources, they're there, but it's about how is it distributed. You know, when you throw bad money on top of bad money, you're going to get bad money. So we need to like take down the current structure that we hold and rebuild it up in a way that is sustainable, that is effective, and that is obviously helpful to the people of our beautiful home. So, you know, but I think my part in this, you know, also as a member of NEON, which is the National Haitian American Elected Officials Network, is to first galvanize the people in our state, in our local communities, and then go on a national level, put everything together, and then put those resources and those, you know, policies that we hope to create, the access to healthcare that we hope to create, and then bring it back home in a unified manner, devoid of any ego, devoid of you know, confusion, and devoid of those trying to bring us down. We must do for Haiti what we know we can, and that's why it's important for us to be united. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Suzanne?
Oh, no, you can go. Go for the first question.
So my
follow-up.
first question for you two is, how do you think we should, I think you talk about, you know, mobilize. How do you mobilize, right? How do you go to a community and tell the youth and the diaspora to mobilize so that we can help make changes in Haiti?
Before the answer, I was going to add something and then direct probably your question, Marcellus, to Carrie Solage, to the director. And for everybody who just joined in, Carrie Solage, who is running for congressman from New York, was just here, made a quick presentation. Mais monsieur gagné yon fundraiser que l'a fait là automatiquement. So li quitté directeur et programme là pour nous poser questions ensemble avec. So that's what we are doing right now. One of the questions that I have for you is basically, what is the chance that the congressman, beside the question for Dr. Marcel, but what is the chance that the congressman win his primary on the 23rd?
Well, I think he has a good chance. There is a primary. There are 4 candidates, but you know, he's been in office for more than 10 years, serving the community in the 3rd legislative district in Nassau County. And the other candidates don't have a record like he has. They haven't been in office like as long as he has. So we're doing a good job of getting the base energized. We have a lot of support. We are putting flyers all over the neighborhood. We have people that are canvassing, going door to door, people phone banking. And I think there's a lot of momentum. And the community has reelected him year after year after year, for more than 10 years. So now is a chance to have somebody who they're excited about, especially in Elmont and Valley Stream, a place where he has a lot of support, and we're feeling good about it.
Do Haitian vote in this community? I mean, do the Haitian base, do they come out really when they have to?
They do. They are the ones that have supported him. So, you know, Carrier's family is from Haiti, and there's a lot of people in Elmont and Valley Stream, Haitians that I've met, they come to our office and they want to know how they can help. And they're putting up flyers in businesses. They're taking lawn signs. They're making donations. They're making phone calls. They're walking door to door. So we have a lot of support from the Haitian community. He's been on Haitian radio. He's gone on the Jamaican radio. And we reach out to all communities. So, you know, we want a lot of support and to help everybody.
Or probably the, I guess, Mr. Berg, maybe you can answer the question that Thomas was asking before.
Dr. Marcellus, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, how do you get the youth, the diaspora together to mobilize? What is the challenge you've seen and why? Is it the fact that they don't know how to do it? Or what is the main issue that you always run into? Or is it something that they care about?
I'm going to be honest with you. Actually, here in the city of East Orange, we were doing an amazing job mobilizing the youth. You know, they were very active. You know, they were, you know, you have to be intentional. You know, you have to be consistent. Those are like the two biggest things. And I think that especially with young people, they want to see somebody who's intentional, somebody who's consistent, and somebody who makes sure that they keep their word. And when you have those three factors and you add them all up, you know, the young people will follow you. But, you know, what happened, it would kind of maybe stop the progress just a little bit, was the pandemic. You know, we're just going through a global pandemic. It's actually still ongoing. You know, because I at one point I was having weekly meetings with the youth at the local high school. And, you know, we were meeting with the HSAs and of the colleges and things like that. And we were moving and progressing towards something positive. And then, you know, the world shut down. And it's been kind of a struggle to get back to it, you know, because I think there's just a lot of, the world is just different change and a lot of priorities have shifted. You know, the young people that were, you know, there and being a part of it, now they're working. You know, a lot of people are, you know, the parents aren't home as much. So they, you know, the parents are working 2 jobs. So now they have to be home to watch the little brother and sister. So the access to the children has shifted. The schools, they don't allow outside participants to, you know, be in their classrooms anymore the way we used to. We used to have classrooms or the auditorium. So a lot of things have shifted, and it's about trying to navigate through that shift. But it is possible, and the children and the youth are definitely engaged, but it's just continuing just to be intentional and consistent with them. So it is possible, and you know, it's just about strategizing and working around the parameters of, you know, the world we live in today as of the pandemic.
Thank you.
My question gonna be for you too. You know, not too long ago, I had this opportunity to interview Rico Dupuis, one of the trusted voice in the Haitian community in the radio. And he pinpointed that he thinks that one of the strongest things Haitian community has right now is like young people, they are getting involved in politics more and more. And he thinks that this is one thing that could change how other communities in the United States see Haitians, and it can switch how you guys in the politics can change this foreign politics that United States has with Haitian. It's a huge of expectation. Do you think this is something that you kind of helping to change?
Yeah, so I always say, you know, although I'm the first Haitian American ever elected in the city of East Orange, I will not be the last. You know, I have a lot of mentees that I mentor on a daily basis, you know, that I hope to cultivate and, you know, will follow in my footsteps. And the person you're speaking of, it is true. How do you effectuate change? You effectuate change by creating policy. You know, and how do you create policy? You have to have people, persons, men and women in those positions to create policy that will support the community at large. And, you know, but I think, you know, I'm a grassroots type of person. So it starts to me on the local level, and it starts with the young people seeing you actually in the community and rolling up your sleeves, getting your hands dirty. And I know based off of that, those actions, they will follow in the footsteps and then take it to new heights. But it definitely is what needs to happen.
Marcellus?
Are you able to answer the same question, Director? Well, I'm sorry, what's your name again, Dan?
My name is
campaign
Dan
director?
Small. I'm the finance
Yeah.
director for the
Can you,
campaign.
are you able to answer that question or no?
Could you just repeat the question one more time for me?
Yes, I said that before that one of the trusted voice in the community pinpoint that one of the strongest point we have right now is because more and more young people, Haitian American, get involved in politics, and he think that this is something that might help to change how foreign policy between the United States and Haiti. And do you think this is something that can change or that might help to change?
Yes. So, something I've been talking to people about is, they have family back home in Haiti. And if you want them taken care of, then having a voice in Congress who understands your community, who has family from Haiti, and taking care of the Caribbean community, then you should support Carrie Salage. And so that's something that energizes people, that gets them involved. And so we've seen young people getting involved in our campaign because of that. We have a member of Congress, of Haitian descent, and Carrier can be the next one. So I think that is very helpful. He's the only, Caribbean person in the race. There are other people in the race, but, so that I think has energized the community.
One thing I realized, actually, I just want to say to everybody listening que Kerry, c'est premier congressman. Si monsieur élu la premier congressman haïtien dans le Congrès États-Unis. Nous gagnons congresswoman, mais nous ne pouvons jamais gagner un congressman. Maintenant, ça me qu'on remarque dans le monde ça élu, yo par exemple, c'était un sénateur et qui était une dame de Utah qui était là malgré pas là pour le temps. Le moins côté issues ou bien nous parler de bagaille sur Haïti, dit yo pas prend, yo pas même concentré sur rien sur Haïti. Yo pas parler depuis yo fini élu yo chercher communauté communauté a élu pour dans cas congrès dans cas sénateur de Utah par exemple haïtien Utah. Donc naturellement c'est pas l'haïtien qui te mettait là. So mon intention c'est peut-être une raison qui fait pas trop care de problème haïtien. Mais dans cas New York côté congressman dans cas sorti, dans pile haïtien c'est haïtien qui a voyé comment pour nous faire pour congressman nan rete true to the Haitian cause. So what I was trying to say is like usually when we vote, we put people in Congress, like from Haiti or with Haitian support. Usually once in there, they forget about the Haiti issues. There are so many examples that just happened recently with other congressmen. Let's say we have Carl Levin, for instance, is from I think Maryland or somewhere. And those people were not actually didn't really have a lot of Haitian support. However, they care a lot about Haiti's issue. But the people that we vote from our own communities with our support, usually when they get in power, they forget about the community. How do you guys keep abreast, keep in touch, keep connected with the Haitian community so you can help solve the public policy issues?
So,
I mean, both of
I just
thank you.
Yes, thank you. So one of the things that, as a member of NEON, which is again, the National Haitian American Elected Officials Network, roughly about 10 years ago, there were about 20 elected officials across this country of Haitian descent. Today, I'm proud to say there's about 150 across this country. Also, I do believe that, you were speaking of Senator Love, who was also a member of NEON as well. I can tell you and assure you that each member of NEON has one goal, and that goal is to fight for policy changes and, transformation of, Haiti through our resources here in this country. And she is a strong member and a vocal member of that. And having sat in rooms with her, she has definitely shown that she is a true supporter of Haiti. You mentioned Mr. Racine. Mr. Racine is a strong supporter as well. And, it's just, again, about consistency. It's about making sure that that 150 grows to 300 to 400. You know, because if we can get more people and more voices in the room, it will 1,100% change, you know, the direction and, you know, the policy of what we need to happen. You know, I know roughly 10 years ago when we had the earthquake, you know, we couldn't get conversations with certain people. And, you know, with this most recent, you know, series and recent events, you know, we've met with just about everyone except for the president. And, you know, and it's because of the volume of elected officials across this country and the power that we have that we're able to get those rooms. Is it perfect? No. Could we, you know, do more? Yes. But I can tell you that if we can continue to be intentional, continue to be consistent and growing our numbers, that will continue to on a trajectory that we have. You know, our organization is relatively new compared to, you know, other minority groups, you know, and their organizations, you know, and so everyone started from somewhere. And I can tell you that we are building and building, and it's going pretty fast, you know, if you ask me to jump from that number over a 10-year span. And, you know, I just look forward to seeing what we can do. We need to be more aggressive, you know, to your point. And, you know, under the leadership of Councilwoman Shanette Frederick, President Frederick, you know, we are doing that. But, you know, it does take time. I know nobody wants to hear that, but, you know, a tree doesn't grow overnight. It takes time and for it to grow and to mature into its, you know, beautiful state. And that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Right. And just a quick follow-up, I was going to say, how do the 150 member of Congress or elected officials, how do we guys, I know we had Neon, but how do we strengthen ourselves to not compete, but maybe through alliance with the Black Caucus Foundation? I don't know, the Black Caucus, so we can make things happen right now in Haiti, for instance. Right now we have issues, and right now we need solutions, right? So what is in the pipeline for this group as we speak what can we do to effectively make a dent, like make some change right now in this country? Or at least in the way the US, for instance, is looking at Haiti. You can answer this.
I can't go too deep into it, but you know, right now there's conversations being had with high-level ranking officials here in the US about solutions as to what can be done as we speak. Those conversations, I can assure you, are definitely happening. I just can't reveal those conversations, but I can assure you that they're happening. You know, and you know, as you know, Mr. Director mentioned, or excuse me, Congressman Solage mentioned, you know, what's going on, and we see the images in you know, on CNN. But you know, we've been in the know, and we have people on the ground, so we know what's been going on, and we've been having these high-level conversations for you know, to find a solution. So that's, you know.
So why don't we open the question up for the audience based on the time? So
yes, I was checking Dr. Merciless, and until now we don't have too much. So I think we can. Hi, welcome back.
Sorry about that. I apologize.
No, you're good. Dan did the work anyway. Pretty well.
Thank you everyone for your patience. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who's here. I see that we have an esteemed panel of colleagues from the 1804 Institute, and Jackie, Mr. Lennis Elsner from Rutgers. I respect everyone here highly. Thank you again for your support and your attention. I would also like to learn more about your organization and what you're doing. We're here to support each other. I had the fortunate pleasure of meeting some of you recently when the Congresswoman from Florida came here. And it was fascinating me what everyone was working on, what they're doing. And we have to take the time sometimes to learn what we're doing so we can support each other's cause. Because as I've learned in Creole, there is an expression that says, Le ou touche douet ou touche tout mela. And so we have to really help each other. And so beyond August 23rd, I want you to know that I would love to support your organizations. I'm not one of these typical Haitian politicians that go to these fundraisers and not give a check. I give a check every time. I support my community. I love my community. I love being Haitian. Just last night, I was with Jerry Wonder, the Fugees, and we were celebrating his birthday. And I'm getting a lot of support also from Haitian celebrities. So I'm very thankful for the support of the Haitian community. We really have to come together because we lack certain resources and assets. And I want to make sure that we improve our situation here. But please, everyone, I need your support. My name is Carrie Salages. If you don't remember my name, please remember my initials, CS for common sense. It's common sense to support your own. It's common sense to really stick together as one. You look at a lot of other cultures, the Pakistani culture, which is why I'm here tonight with my Pakistani friends. They've been supporting me. You know, they move as one. And if we don't move as one, we suffer the consequences. So we have to put aside our differences. This is the one chance that we have. And I don't think we're gonna ever have this chance again. This is not $1 million race. The woman who has the most money in this race has $500,000. That's not a lot for a congressional race. We're not, because it's August, we're not gonna have 30,000 people voting. We're gonna have just probably 10,000 people at most. 10,000, that's nothing. So yeah. So if we get 3,500 people and there are 3 people in the race. So if we get 4,000 people to vote, we win. We win. So please, I'm asking you to come to my campaign office. We have 3 offices all throughout the district. And you could either be making phone calls, coup telephone, or we could also be going door to door. The campaign phone number is 516-248-4730. I truly need your help. I want to fix the broken immigration system. The last amnesty that we had in our country was on April 30th, 2001. We're overdue for an amnesty. Each time TPS was expired, I fought to have it renewed. We must renew. I want to create a pathway for citizenship for these individuals. And we could do it. It's all about our willpower. It's all about how much we scream and shout and demand justice. That's the way I've been able to get things done in my district. And you could go to my website and see all of my accomplishments. My website does not even say all my accomplishments. God has blessed me with the fortitude and the grace and just good luck. And I really want to share that now with all of my community in Nassau County, and as a Congress member, make change on a global level, especially for Haiti.
So, Congressman, actually, there is a question for you regarding that immigration. I think, Suzanne, you want to say it for the Congressman? Or you are on speaker, you are on mute.
Yeah, you want me to ask the same question I asked before? I think the finance director already answered.
No, it's a question in the chat.
Yeah, it's a question of the chat from Mark Wu. If you want, I can read it for you, Congressman. He said one of the major public policy issues affecting
the crisis that is ravaging the country now. The question that I just read is, what is the diaspora community doing to address the ravaging of Haiti? Again, I think we must advocate for a change in policy, U.S. foreign policy. One second. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good night. We must advocate for a change in U.S. foreign policy. I've spoken to members of the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm very disappointed on their lack of answers when it comes to addressing concerns, international relation issues with Haiti. We must address the embargo again against the Haitian police. Having Haiti being a transit spot for drugs is a national security interest for the United States. We have an opioid epidemic that hasn't gone away, and it's because all these drugs are coming through the Caribbean. So we have to invest in the police, the rule of law, the judicial system in all of these countries. We have to empower these institutions and bring credibility and respect back to them, and we could do so. I'm all for Haitians rebuilding Haiti. I recently attended last weekend a fundraiser for a church. You know, I mean, Haitians have to take the lead in rebuilding their own future.
There's another question, I think. One of the major public, go ahead, Congressman, I'm sorry.
I think the councilman may have something to add.
Actually, Congressman Salages, pretty much summed it up. You know, and I'll just say that, you know, to you, you know, Mr. Prosper, you know, once we, you know, when we have our subcommittee meetings, I would love to invite you so you can see a lot of the things that we're doing, you know, in terms of NEON. We are having high-level conversations. We have policy writers, you know, submitting different proposals, and, you know, we're getting feedback from these high-level, you know, conversations. And if anybody knows anything about policy, you know, it has to go through several different iterations and edits and changes, and it just doesn't happen overnight. So the conversations, and, you know, Congressman could explain that to you much better than I could. But the conversations are happening, I can assure you. You know,
they are, and I appreciate that. And by the way, I'm going to need your help to educate me on these policy issues, and I'm going to need your help to educate me on what is the better policy. I don't assume to know everything. Please, I need your help, and understand also that when I go to DC, God willing, I get to bring with me 19 people, and I'm looking to hire the best and brightest for our community. So I need your help.
Yes, we'll definitely connect, and you know, I look forward to working with you. And you know, I can just assure you that Mr. Prosper, the work is being done, and you know, behind the scenes, and we are, and I know we're going to be successful.
Right. One of the questions that I have for Congressman Sonaj is, you mentioned 2 times the issue with the Black Caucus. Would you, if elected, would you ally yourself with the Black Caucus, or do you think they are useful? They may be useful to support the cause in Haiti, or you would not? You're on speaker.
As a freshman in the United States House of Representatives, I have to work with everyone, so I'm not going to be foolish and not decide to be part of that caucus. But I would respectfully add my contribution and my unique perspective, and use my ability that I've done, my abilities as a legislator the past 10 years to create alliances with, you know, they say in politics means strange bedfellows. I've had Republicans support a bill that I designed, that I wrote, that would allow people to have their deed that had a racial covenant on it to be reversed. And so I've been able to, you know, do unique things by my ability of persuasion and my ability to make alliances, and the currency in any democracy is compromise. So, you know, I'm looking to create partnerships and relationships to advance my agenda. So I would be a part of the caucus and other caucuses, but my main goal is to create a Haitian caucus. If I'm there with the Congresswoman from Florida, I'm going to try everything I can to get a 3rd person to be in Congress too. You know, the same way my sister is an assemblywoman, I like to create leaders. That's what a real leader does. The key to leadership is not carrying the torch, it's passing it along. And so I'm looking forward to, you know, getting a 3rd Congress member there. And then we have a caucus at that point, a Haitian caucus. And at that point, we could really advance our agenda.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
Unfortunately, mwen cheke sou chat la kounya, mwen cheke sou YouTube live, no. Oh, there's one pop-up.
I have to just step away momentarily, but I'll give the phone again to my director. I apologize.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Ok, l'autre question qui monte a, c'est anglais li écrit, m'appelé li.
Okay. Yep.
So l'autre question, c'est how come the international world has turned a blind eye to these crises? I don't even think it's a question though. Say the killing is inhuman, the kidnapping should be unacceptable. We are desperate for leaders to initiate action to save Haiti. Any comments?
I agree with that comment. I believe it's Marlene is the person's name. It's you know, obviously we are all passionate about you know, Haiti, and to see other migrant groups getting support from the international community, it's very disheartening. You know, and not Haiti receive the same amount of support is very disheartening. I believe that the other migrant groups should receive aid when necessary, but Haiti is a part of that as well. We are also part of the international community. And whenever there is a crisis, a global crisis or a national crisis, you know, you see migrant groups, you know, they're rushing to their aid. And again, I support that, but we also need that support as well. And it's very disheartening to see Haiti being left out on just about every single solitary issue. You know, we have a country that is being taken over by, you know, groups. We have a country that has a gas shortage. We have a country that has suffered 2-3 earthquakes in the past 10 years. We have a country that has a president that was assassinated. You know, we have a country that has been ravaged by natural disaster, other natural disasters, and the list goes on. And yet, you know, the support has just not been there the same way it has been for others. And you know, that has to stop. You know, we need assistance the same way other groups need assistance. But, you know, I will say that it starts with us. And, you know, once we, you know, pull our resources together, you know, we can count on the international community as well. But at this time, they've kind of turned a blind eye, and it's very upsetting and disheartening.
So that was the question I was going to ask, just on top of what you just said, Councilman. What do we do? So this is what you just described. This is the state of affairs. This is what it is right now. But what do we do to change that equation? What do we do right now?
We get people like Congressman Solage into office. We have Senator McCormick in office, and we need to get more people in the room. You mentioned the Black Caucus. You know, the Congressional Black Caucus. We're not in the room to advocate for ourselves, to push our agenda. So we need to ensure that we have, you know, Haitian, you know, representation on a federal level, on a state level, on a local level, and we need to get people in the room. It's critical at this point. We are like behind a lot of the other migrant groups in terms of representation, and we have to come out. So we can no longer just sit on our hands. You know, when we have elections coming up, you know, you have one August 23rd, the Haitian community has to come out in droves. Because I can tell you, you know, the power structure, the only thing they understand are two things. It's money and votes. It's money and votes. And if you don't have the money, and if you don't have the votes, you're basically silent. And that's what it's going to take. So it's going to take the Haitian, you know, collective to develop PACs. So that way, when we do have a Congressman Solage and he's running, you know, we can just support him and funnel the money into his account to make sure that, you know, he gets pushed over the edge. You know, when we have, you know, McCormick and whoever the case may be, but we need to ensure that we collectively pull our resources. Again, when we talked about throwing bad money on top of bad money, we need to throw good money on top of good money. And we do that by supporting our legislators on a state level, federal level, county level, and local level, you know, municipal level. And then we have to then, secondly, come out and vote. I promise you, and Director can tell you, they know who's coming out to vote through his analysis and through his research. They know who's coming out to vote. They know when is the last time you voted. They know how many times you voted. They know if you missed an election and why did you miss an election. They know if you returned a ballot. You know, if you didn't return a ballot, they know when it was mailed to you. They know the position in which you voted to see if you actually voted. They know it all, and they have that research. And I can assure you that the Haitian community, unfortunately, has been lacking in that area in terms of voting. And we need to get out and vote, and we need to make sure that we have our voices heard. And then again, now we're in these rooms, and they cannot ignore us. But they're apt to ignore us because we don't have our stuff together, and it's important that we put our stuff together.
It seems like we don't have a machine, like an election machine, like a PAC, like you were saying. And
Correct.
I was thinking about that. I did talk to the congressman last time when he was at the fundraiser. So we were saying that the idea of having a Haitian PAC, you know, because the money is a big issue. Sometimes I do some work for congressional member, and sometimes I can see that issues are passed based on who has the biggest check. Not
Dr.
even
Charles,
when you have the
if you allow
people.
me, Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Charles. We have two more questions, at least three. And I would like to ask, as I said before, first come, first serve. I know you already asked some questions, but I would like to share those questions with our guest speaker too, if you allow me to. Yeah, I'm gonna speak Creole just a little bit to inform. Like, il y a trois autres questions, aller sur yo, et puis après ça, on a permettre Concealment, Bernelus, and then the finance director to answer those questions, okay? Gangs in Haiti don't make guns. 100% of the guns and ammunition came from the US. Why the customs patrols in the US do not intercept these guns before they get on the planes or boats containers? What is the deal with the NRA? Yes.
NRA.
I don't know who comes first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, you know, I don't want to say conspiracy theories, but I'm not going to engage in that type of conversation because, again, I mean, I know where it's coming from, or I believe I know where it's coming from, but I will keep that to myself. I think that it's just important, you know, and this conversation is about how does the diaspora, you know, take those resources that we're pouring into Haiti and make it effective as opposed to the waste that we're seeing now. So it's important that, again, we're in these rooms having these conversations, and quite frankly, we're getting there and we're building, but we're not completely there yet. So it's about getting in those rooms, and then once we're in those rooms, then we can really see what's going on and who's doing what and how they're doing it. But until then, you know, we're just, you know, twiddling our fingers, and we need to like really focus on the issues at hand.
The next question is specifically asked to Congressman Solage. I'm gonna ask it. I know the finance director is here, and they ask it, I can like make it short. How can, if Solage is elected, hope he does, by the way, what can a fly do in a couple of minutes? So meaning, what can you change? What can you really change? Let us be real. If needed and honest, we need an honest answer, knowing that racism is institutionalized in the US.
All right, so yeah, what can we do? So we don't have a lot of representation right now from the Haitian community, but it starts with 1, 2, 3. The more people we have, then the more important people will take the Haitian community. They'll see that it's important that we listen to them. And Carrier is always someone that does not back down from a challenge. And anytime some people might be uncomfortable, he's there. He's there to speak. He's there to help people. He's there to defend people. He's very tough, and he's not afraid. So he'll be there no matter what the issue is, and he'll always be there to help people. He doesn't back down from challenges.
Okay, the last one is not really an answer. I think it's a comment for the councilman. From the first person, I think, who asked the question, he said, yes, we need more people, more leaders. All the Haitian social gatherings are packed every weekend. Please, I'm sending an SOS to all the leaders to motivate, lead, because we need to bring peace back to Haiti. Comments?
I couldn't agree with that more. You know, I know they said Congressman Solage is going to be at an event in Elizabeth, New Jersey at First Republic soon. And, you know, that is like probably one of the most amazing night spots, restaurants in the state of New Jersey. And every time I go there, and, you know, there's about 300-400 people there easily, you know, but if I said, let's do a rally around the Haitian policy issue, I'll probably get about 10. So it is an issue, you know, and it's about figuring out a way to make it enticing enough to get the, you know, the young people out, to get, you know, the middle-aged persons out, to get our elders out, because this is life or death. It is life or death. You know, it's okay and it's good to obviously celebrate and to have fun. It's okay and to also relax and just, you know, be with your families. But we wouldn't be here without Haiti. We wouldn't be here without Mother Haiti. We wouldn't be here without our ancestors that fought for our right to be free. And so we owe them a debt of gratitude. And we show that debt of gratitude by putting in the work, by getting out and voting, by putting, you know, creating policy changes, you know, by being boots on the ground, the way, you know, 1804 and NJ for Haiti is. And we owe that to our ancestors. And this is what they fought for. So it's important that we do that. And to your point again, you're right. If something were to be a social event, it would be jam-packed within minutes. But when it comes to a serious policy issue or a serious rally or getting the people, galvanizing the people together for something that's important or impactful for you know, Haiti, then you'll see the numbers are not the same.
Okay, I think I'm gonna, yeah, I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna share the last question, you know, which is probably important for the finance director, which is waivers. How do I find out when the congressman will be there at First Republic so I can be there? And is there any flyers, as I would like to pass the invitation to my NG neighborhoods as I'm located in New Jersey?
We will send out more information. We will send out more information. Actually, I was on a call about the event earlier today. So we will get more information once everything is set, and we will share with you guys. So just if you are interested in it, then just send us your email. You can send it to Dr. Prosper, or you can email us on the chat here, and we'll send you more information about what needed for the event that's coming up. But one thing I wanted to add is that while this work is important for us here in the diaspora, but it's important also for the leaders in Haiti, right? And that's the issue: is who do we trust? Who can we work with in Haiti? So we have been talking about doing the work in the diaspora, but at the same time, there's an issue. The main issue is the leadership in Haiti, right? So we know there's no real government. We know all the issue that's going on with the quote unquote government and politicians, but how do we find the people on the ground, the grassroots organization on the ground who want changes? How can we work with those organizations, right? So yes, we can do work here, but how do we find a grassroots organization that we can trust that really wants to do the work? So because we can't just say, oh, we're gonna go to Haiti and change policy, or even we do policy here, we still need to train. There's a disconnect, right? There's this bridge, and the bridge is broke because when you go to Haiti, you can't find the people for you to train to do this work, because number one, the biggest thing we have right now in Haiti is the youth is leaving the country at any chance. The educated youth, at the first chance they get, they leave the country. How do we find the people that's left behind? And this question can be for the people who's in Haiti right now that's listening. Is there a grassroots of young leaders that we can work with, the diaspora can work with, to train so that we can train them how to become better leaders to help voice some of this issue? Because the diaspora can't fight this fight by itself. We need the leaders in Haiti too to help with this fight.
Juste pour ajouter sur ça, Dr. Asselus dit, et n'a pas des derniers rapports OEA sorti. Encore une fois, malgré OEA dit que la communauté internationale là responsable ou bien contribuer dans le problème, mais il dit tout, on dit tout que il n'y a pas joint haïtien capable qui pour résoudre le problème. Pour moi, je pense son slap in the face, because I don't believe that. Je pense qu'il y a un haïtien qui est capable, je pense qu'il y a un haïtien qui a try, both in the US and in Haiti. And Haiti is very tough, very, very tough. When you try to change that situation, sometimes they get killed, just get killed, right? But at the same time, we cannot give up. And one of the mindset I want to change is, c'est pas au lieu de nous garder qui ça Haïti a fait pour nous. Right now, Haiti cannot do anything. Is how do we go and implementing? How do we go with ideas, with people, with resources, with stuff like that, and try to change things? Because after Haiti leadership longtemps, we need nous ça pour faire n'attendre yon yon mot d'ordre sou dan Haïti. Nap tan yon sort de environnement en Haïti pou nou commence à implémenter ide yo. Mais is that tough? It's very tough. Then, yes, go ahead.
I have a question. Ma pose question en créole avant, et peut-être après ça, on pose en anglais, et puis dans mettre des avis, et peut-être finance director, et puis continue maintenant. Il y a un reproche que jeune haïtien au gagné, c'est que justement, gagné là de qui là, et il y a un reproche, c'est que diaspora a toujours pensé que c'est eux qui venu pour sauver Haïti. Alors que nous pas forcément connaître qui j'en terrain et qui j'en ça y est, diaspora a venu déjà et pas forcément réussi alors que on connaît au table venir implémenter. Yeah. So time vraiment get commentaire sur ça. I'm gonna say it in English. So one of the criticisms of Haitian regarding Haitian community talking about saving Haiti is just the thing. They feel like you look down on them and you don't understand, not really understand how it is, the feel, how it is. So I would like to have your comments about this. Have you already tried to contact human rights defenders in Haiti or grassroots movements in Haiti?
The question is for me?
Anyone can answer.
Yeah.
You want to go first? Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't really comment too much on what we've, the focus is really here in our community. We do have people of Haitian descent on the team working with us. We actually have somebody who came all the way from Haiti to work on our campaign, canvassing, going door to door. So we're trying to show people that we really do care about Haiti, so much so that we actually brought somebody in from Haiti. We are giving people in the community jobs to help us to be part of the team. But as far as the organizations that we're working with, I can't really comment on that. It's more of connecting with our neighbors, connecting with the people that we trust in the community. And from there, the people that we trust will lead us to more trusted people. So that's what I could tell you. And he'll be back here. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. No, I'm not leaving. Sorry. Oh my gosh, you're here. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
Man.
Thank you. Hi guys, I'm sorry about that. Okay, that was the last interruption. That was my last portion of the speech. I'm having a good night tonight. I'm getting a lot of support. I really need your support. I have a lot of support from a lot of different communities, but if I don't have the support from my own community, it will not feel right. It won't be the winning combination. Please, my fellow Zoe, I need your help, please. But thank you again. I apologize for missing the portion of the program. Please, if there are any questions, I'm here to answer.
So what if you want, I can just ask one of that question because there is something that is very interesting. I saw Mark put on there. He asked, usually the interest of a Haitian American is different, which I don't believe, by the way, but I'm asking the question that sometimes the interest of the Haitian American is different from the interest of Haitian down there. How do we reconcile the two?
Listen, the reality is, and you'll see this in every community where there's poverty, you have a few who don't want change because they're taking advantage of the status quo. And those individuals don't want us Haitian Americans gaining influence in Haiti. I would love for there to be a dual nationality. I'll be the first person on that line, okay? Truly. So, those are, and I think that perspective is advanced by individuals who don't want change, who, they want to be the local dictator. We got rid of one dictator, Duvalier, and now in Haiti we have 1,000. And we have to, too many chiefs and no Indians, I mean, everybody in Haiti sometimes wants to be the architect and the engineer, no workers. So we have to really, learn to respect order and the leadership of the few leaders. And I think we have to come on the same page, and there has to be a better exchange between diaspora and those in Haiti. But so we need change, but we all think we could agree right now that the current status quo is not working.
Any last, it is not 8:40. Any last comment from anyone of the panel before we wrap it up? again, we want to thank you, the congressman and the councilman, for being here with us tonight. Again, don't forget to please support the congressman. We want to make sure he's elected. We have more information. We will send you guys more information about how you can go ahead and make a donation directly to his campaign. Please, if you want to call, you can call us, call Dr. Prosper, or call me myself, email us. We will definitely send you more information about to make a donation to his campaign. He cannot win this fight without us. We have to support him. He's one of us, and he's going to Washington to fight for us and for Haiti. So and also if you're in New Jersey, you want to come out next Thursday to First Republic to come out and support the congressman, please reach out to Dr. Prosper or I. We will send you more information.
Next Thursday at what time, Dr. Mercedes? Kilo exactly.
I don't have the exact time
I
yet.
believe it's at 8 o'clock. I believe it's at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
8 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I will send you more information because I spoke with Councilwoman Frederick earlier, Shawnette earlier. She about the event. So I will send you more information and you can send out to everyone. And then next Wednesday we'll have the flyer and we'll give out more information about it for everyone who's going to be in the call. All right.
Thank you very much.
Any last word for you, Monsieur Consul?
Yes, I guess again, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. I apologize for not being present during this entirety of this program. I'm trying to multitask now and I apologize. Women are better at multitasking. But again, thank you for this opportunity. It really means a lot. Like you're not even involved in Nassau County affairs, but here you are giving a chance for someone who has been born and raised here to explain why his struggle is important and why you should be a part of it. Please, I need your help. You can come to my office or any of these campaign offices. We have an assignment that will be given to you. I have Andre Pierre, the former mayor of North Miami. He's coming down. So many people have been involved in this campaign. One guy, Dr. Fizeme, you'll meet him. He's from Haiti. He runs a veterans organization in Haiti that takes care of deported veterans. Can you believe that? United States deports veterans, and a lot of them are Haitian, and they're homeless in Haiti. And he takes care of them. And I have silently funded that organization for many years. So, I really, really care about this. And this is a wonderful chance for our community. I'm not the underdog in this race. I'm at least polling at number 2, and I'm closing in at 5%, at 5 points away. We can make this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Berg.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to the 1804 Institute, to my NJ for Haiti family for allowing me to be on your platform to speak to your, your community of listeners and viewership. Dr. Marcellus mentioned, a disconnect, and there is a disconnect. There's a disconnect between, the Haitian, the diaspora here, and obviously our people that are on the ground in Haiti. And we have to build that bridge, and we have to continue to ensure that what we're doing here in the United States or, in the surrounding, neighboring countries, that we are always strategizing, pooling our resources together, being effective, and making sure that we are sharing in our strategy with our people that are in Haiti. And that way, everyone has all of the buy-in. That way we can work together and we can find a solution. But we're not going to do that if we continue to allow our egos, if we continue to allow our pride, if we continue to allow bad actors to run the show. And that's what we're seeing is happening now. And we have to, as the Congressman said, we have to take those people who have their own interests and their own agendas and making it seem like that's the Haitian agenda, and it is not the Haitian agenda. So we have to work together as a group, as a diaspora, with our people back home and build the foundation for something strong, something that will be sustainable throughout the rest of time. I'm passionate about this topic. I'm passionate about my people. I'm passionate about my culture, and I know you are too. So let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are great words. Awesome words. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. You're exactly on point. We have the correct narrative. We have to make our own narrative. We can't let other people define us. We have to define our own culture. I just want to take this opportunity to thank, in my campaign, I have 2 young ladies named Gael, 2 young Haitian American ladies named Gael. That's a unique name, but God blessed me with 2 young ladies named Gael. C'est vraiment beau bagay. Really, beau bagay. Je connais, ma parle moi, je connais avec tout l'autre monde ça. Mais merci beaucoup. Ma travail dur, ok? Aidez-moi s'il vous plaît. Merci.
Thank you.
Okay, merci tout le monde. I think it's on you now, Dr. Prosper, to wrap it up.
Oh, yes, I really appreciate. Merci beaucoup pour conversation ça. Merci pour congressman. Merci beaucoup pour Councilman Berg. Et merci beaucoup pour Suzanne et Dr. Marseillus et tout le monde qui est là, dans le panel là. Bon, qui est sur Zoom là. Et semaine prochaine, nous avons 2 changements que nous avons fait dans le programme là. Nous allons essayer de faire le programme là, nous allons garder thème, par teams, where we're going to talk, let's say, for instance, about education. Donc, pas quelle information nous besoin qu'on ait dans la diaspora, par exemple. Nous besoin qu'on ait qui carrière qui est prominent dans la diaspora, like which field of study most of the diaspora are involved in, qui côté yo qui ça qui intéressé yo, et on a besoin qu'on ait qui niveau d'études diaspora. Et puis ça c'est un terme, l'autre terme que nous avons essayé d'aborder, nous allons aborder the week after that, terme soit fait for instance, soit fait healthcare, right? Grand pile monde ou bien thème soit fait immigration. Grand pile information que dans diaspora, parce que il y a 2 niveaux de diaspora nous connaissons, avec un niveau qui est vraiment highly educated, qui connected, mais il y a grâce vraiment membre diaspora, on sait de l'autre monde dans diaspora qui pas vraiment gain information, qui pas vraiment connaît qui ça pour faire dans niveau immigration ou bien dans niveau comment peut gain healthcare aux États-Unis dans l'histoire. Donc nous pas chercher qu'on ait problème, nous pas mettre expert panélistes qui va parler de on-ground problem, de ça qui existait et comment qui solution qui gagne, comment pour nous faire pour nous résoudre le problème ça. Donc l'autre bagage encore que j'ai besoin de mentionner, c'est que avec Kiskeya, moi Jackie là, c'est un membre Kiskeya, c'est actuellement président de l'université Kiskeya. Je pas connais si Jackie sous cap parler de ça en classe malgré pas programmé. Si vous pas capable c'est nous gagnons pour nous faire enfin n'a travail sur idée yon survey dans la diaspora pour nous parce que parlons survey by phone pour nous questionner moun yo sous besoin pour nous questionner moun yo sous qui ça qui priorité et pour yo et comment et le nous fin connaît les petits data ça nous parlons encore une fois mettre experts ensemble qui pour discuter de solutions, de need, de problèmes que nous identifions, que nous avons exprimés dans ce survey. Donc, son programme que nous avons fait à long terme, peut-être nous avons gagné 2 mois encore, que nous avons fait, et il n'est pas prêté là seulement pour diaspora in the US. Nous allons aller, moi avec Dr. Marcellus, nous gagnons pour nous aller dans Latino-Amérique, surtout Chili, Brésil, Dominicaine République, et pour nous connaître le problème de l'autre pour ça. Parce que diaspora ici, pas seulement diaspora américain, l'autre côté tout. Et moun ça a un paquet de problèmes. N'a pas de ça qui passe Saint-Domingue actuellement côté y a saisi on sait de moun qui connaît actuellement qui sont aux États-Unis qui a investi Saint-Domingue que yo dit yo kembe bien yo. Donc un paquet de problèmes faut nous identifier, faut nous connaître. Et l'autre fin compte problème l'idée c'est créer un policy paper, un document qui peut non seulement utile et ou même un councilman avec et peut-être Carrie s'il est élected qui pour bailler information de mais problème diaspora et comment eux même créer une policy in the US pour aider ça et même papier ça tout l'a servi comme un guideline pour gouvernement en Haïti ou bien monde qui va diriger en Haïti en façon pour dans même page quand il s'agit de problème diaspora. Donc voilà. Merci beaucoup. Je finis juste à temps.
Ah ouais? The time job. Merci un peu tout le monde. Merci tout le monde qui t'a suivi sur YouTube Live. Merci tout le monde qui t'a suivi sur Facebook Live. Merci tout le monde qui était sur Zoom là. Et merci nous-mêmes, congressmen et councilmen, pour toute information ça. Et bien, on a croisé dans le prochain rendez-vous. C'est Dr. Prosper, on pourrait faire ça avec Dr. Marcelis. Bye bye.
Bonne nuit.
Bye bye. tout le monde.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bonne nuit.
Well, the FEDAP game with today, we're ça et madame, vous vivez en retard, c'est qu'on a événement fini, donc merci beaucoup. Au revoir.